We all related on guilt and shame. Meeting the other girls, we all felt the same thing, guilt and shame. And being with these other girls, these feelings of guilt and shame have lessened. They're not going away, and I don't know that they will. And my feelings of dirtiness and wanting to wash that off has not gone away. And I really look forward to when it does.
Rock star Marilyn Manson is under investigation.
Several women have come forward in the past couple of weeks with similar allegations of abuse against the shock rocker.
As far as other fallout goes, he has been dropped by his record label. CAA, his talent agency, has also dropped him as well.
On February 19th, 2021, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department confirmed they were investigating allegations of domestic violence involving Brian Warner, better known as the musician Marilyn Manson. The news came just weeks after nearly a dozen women, including actress Evan Rachel Wood, shared allegations of abuse against Manson. According to the LA County Sheriff's Department, the incidents under investigation occurred between 2009 and 2011. Manson has denied the allegations, saying in a statement, quote, "These recent claims about me are horrible distortions of reality. My intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual with like-minded partners. To date, he has not been charged with any crime."
That's beautiful.
One of the women who came forward in early February was model Ashley Morgan Smithline. On February 1st, Ashley posted on Instagram accusing Manson of abuse, sexual violence, physical violence, and coercion. And now she's telling her full story for the first time.
I have bonded with the 5 other main girls who went through this, and we have found such a strength in numbers. And our stories are all identical. It's disgusting. At least if you're gonna be an abusive psychopath, be original. And he wasn't in any way.
In 2010, Marilyn Manson was a 41-year-old heavy metal icon, as well known for his music as his extreme, often controversial persona, while Ashley was a 26-year-old model working in Thailand.
I grew up out here in LA in Calabasas. My parents are both in the industry, so I started modeling pretty young. I always wanted to act. That was my intention and my goal, but modeling monetarily came first.
Ashley had frequently worked with LA-based artist and photographer Tyler Shields, who also happened to be a friend of Manson.
A friend of mine, a photographer, Tyler Shields, had, shown him photos, and so he contacted me on the phone and said who he was, and I wasn't into that type of music. I knew who he was, I knew his public persona, but it didn't mean anything to me until he said and I know you're really interested in acting, and I want you to be in a film, and I want you to be in a music video. And I was like, thank God, I can go do this. And he mentioned knowing a lot of people in film, and I thought I could finally get out of modeling, and especially modeling overseas. So I was in Bangkok, and we talked for months. We would email, we would talk on Facebook, we would talk on the phone. We were in contact a lot. So we got to know each other pretty well. All we talked about was our favorite movies and our favorite books, and they were all the same. And we knew the same lines from the same movies, and he was so intelligent. And physically I wasn't very taken at first, but he really lured me in with just this endless intelligence. And it felt very safe, it felt very secure.
That November, after 2 or 3 months of communicating long distance, Ashley flew to Los Angeles and checked into a hotel on Hollywood Boulevard.
The reason I came out in the first place wasn't we were in love and we were friends, and he was casting me in something and I was gonna be able to act. But he flew me out, he put me up the Roosevelt, he brought his bottle of absinthe and had cocaine with him. And he came with his assistant, which made it more comfortable. He came with a girl that was a couple years older than me. And we all, hung out and had some drinks, and then you know, he's like, can I kiss you? And he was still being so romantic and so kind and normal. I went to his house the next day. It was odd. It was a hollowed out ballet studio. Billy Zane, the actor from Titanic, had lived there before him, so he had a mural of Billy Zane on the wall. So as a ballet studio, there were big, like, open rooms. The bedroom was right when you walk in to the right. Everything was black, of course. And to the left, there was a glass sound booth. In the back, there was the studio. There was weird furniture. There was like mounds, like big mounds of cocaine in every single room. And it was just known that that was how it was. And his absinthe was, you know, I guess in boxes, you know. It was odd. Like, he was odd. I knew he was odd. Like, he looks odd. I didn't think I was going to, you know, like, leave it to Beaverland. I knew that he definitely, like, was darker than I was, but he didn't express any of that to me. Like, again, I didn't listen to that kind of music, but slowly, you know, these things were slow. Like, the first couple nights we hung out, I was allowed to sleep and he slept. And then it was little things that, like, you know, we were shooting and all of the windows were blacked out, so he would lie to me about what time it was and tell me, oh, it's only midnight. And it was, you know, maybe 6 in the morning and it was late outside. And just the lies got more and more. Like, what I've read about getting someone into a cult is you deprive them of food, you deprive them of sleep, and you deprive them of talking to anyone. So, like, all those things were true. Like, if I would fall asleep at 1 in the morning, he would start playing really loud music and wake me up, and then I had to go do a line of cocaine to wake up and keep partying with him and entertain him. And more than that, give him attention and reaffirm how great his music sounded, how wonderful he was. And he was, even when he was abusive, sometimes he would be joking and funny. And then sometimes he would be the most terrifying monster in the world. Like, he would say things like, do you know I could kill you right now?
According to Ashley, the verbal and psychological abuse soon turned physical.
The first time that he, you know, I didn't know that you could rape someone that you were in a relationship with. And there's a difference between waking up to someone having sex with you nicely in the morning and waking up tied up with someone having sex with your unconscious body. Like, being tied up and screaming and not enjoying it, and him, like, laughing, like, sadistically. Or, like, you know, gagging my mouth or something. And then we didn't really speak of it. I wasn't allowed to speak of it. I never stood up to him, ever, because I knew that would be more abuse, more torture. And I didn't want it. There was a time where there was, like, during a rape, there was a struggle, and my nose broke, and I flew back overseas. Like, I flew through Narita, the airport in Japan, with a broken nose. It's not comfortable to fly 17 hours with a broken nose. I had a bridal shoot the next day, and I had bruises on my eyes. I looked terrible, and they said, what happened? And I said, I fell down, you know, like what any battered, abused woman said. You start telling lies, and then I just got, like I said, I was a light, happy, generous, caring, outgoing-ish person, and then I was a secretive, scared little girl. There was always people there at the house. His band, the assistant, friends, people with lights, because we were shooting all the time our movie or the music video or whatever BS. As people started to trickle out, I was always like looking to his assistant, who's a friend of mine still, Ashley, and we would look at each other like, it's gonna get bad, you know, like as soon as everyone starts leaving, he turns off the charm and the monster would come out.
The alleged physical and sexual abuse began soon after Ashley and Manson first met in 2010. While Manson claims his intimate relationships have always been entirely consensual, according to Ashley, the rapes became too frequent to count.
Countless. I mean, it was from 2010 to 2012. I can't. I mean, between 20 and 300. I don't know. It just got more and more violent as time went on. He would cut like my ribs, he didn't hit my face. Like he you know, I was a model as a job. He didn't hit my face. He definitely cut my inside of my thighs, my inside of my elbows, my outer thighs have his initials carved into them. He cut my lower stomach, and he made it very clear that I was replaceable, that I was vulnerable, that I was extinguishable, that he could kill me at any moment. And he would remind me when I was tied up or when I was whatever, that I could kill you at any time. At one point I brought up, like, do you want me to kill myself? Like, do you want me to just kill myself? So he decided it was a good idea to show me clips of different suicide scenes from movies. And I've asked the other girls that I've spoken to that are victims of him, like, what do you think his objective was? And we all agree that we think that he honestly wanted us all to kill ourselves. And that's a serial killer, no?
According to Ashley, Manson would also lock her inside a small soundproof room for extended periods of time.
So I thought, like, it was bigger than a phone booth. You could like stretch out. It wasn't like cramped or anything, but you were definitely put in there like on timeout if he had people over and you were annoying him. Like, he thought he would, I don't know what he thought. I can't imagine, you know, to know what a sociopath thinks. He'd say things all the time like, you just love to piss me off. So when I was pissing him off, like if I had to go pee while he was replaying one of his songs I'd heard 30,000 times, I'd have to go in the box without my phone, without anything. And the other girls that I've talked to have experienced the same thing, but like it was like a timeout punishment space. I think sometimes he forgot I was there because he was so drugged out or drunk or whatever. I think the longest I spent in there was maybe 6+ hours, which is like isolation like that isn't natural, it's not normal. It's so weird, like there was so much abuse. There was so many things, like of him just even shoving his fist in my mouth, like that could have killed me, putting the pillow over my face a little too long. Like, I was afraid for my life every single moment I was with him, but more I was afraid that he was gonna get rid of me and find someone else. And that's really sick. Like, that's very brainwashed. And I've, you know, reread messages where I was like, anything to make you feel loved. If I have to hurt for you to feel loved and cared about, that's okay. Like, who says that? Like, who thinks that way? Who thinks that low of themselves? And I was just afraid. I was afraid if I didn't push it as far as he wanted, that he'd find someone who would. I didn't know what BDSM was, and a lot of people are like, you knowingly entered into a BDSM relationship. Like, I don't know what that is now even, and I've seen like 50 Shades of Grey. Like, I didn't know what that was then, and that wasn't what he presented at all. Like, he didn't say, like, we're gonna have a relationship where you're gonna kneel down or lay on the bed and I'm gonna whip you with a swastika whip, or I'm gonna cut you while we're having sex, or we're gonna have a blood pact. I'm gonna drink your blood, you're gonna drink mine. I didn't know, like, I mean, obviously I knew that was weird, but there was something, like, I was already taken. I was already there. And the more I did for him, the more I let him hurt me, the more I loved him, and the more I was, like, proving myself to him. So I was like, he found me as a vulnerable shell of a person, and he hollowed me out more and more and more. There were parts of him that you felt sympathy for. He longed for this, like, Norman Rockwell, like, Leave It to Beaver, like, Pleasantville life. And Thanksgiving, he demanded that we have this perfect Thanksgiving. And I was a kid, like, I think I had my mom come drop off some of her, like, nice dishes, and I, you know, made Thanksgiving. Like, I did the best I could, and it was, like, one of, like, our nicer nights. We had great times. Like, there were times we would sit and listen to our song and lie there, and he would teach me guitar, and he would, you know, have me sing on tracks, and, like, there were just wonderful times. And there were horrible times. And obviously, like, the bad started to outweigh the good.
By October 2011, Ashley says she had finally had enough. After a long flight back to LA from another international modeling job, she was ready to end the relationship.
I think I knew on, like, that plane ride back, like, if this happens again, I'm leaving. Like, I'm done. Like, I can't do this. He's gonna kill me. Like, I'm not gonna get out alive. So we were shooting, and I had just done a wardrobe change, and then they needed to do a lighting change, and everyone knows how long that takes. That can take hours. It was 3 in the morning. I wasn't keeping up with my cocaine intake. I was jet lagged, and I fell asleep, and he just screamed at me, like, in front of camera people, in front of industry people that I respected. Like, he just screamed at me that I was unprofessional, that I was never gonna make it in acting, that I was a horrible actress, because who would fall asleep at 3 in the morning when we were filming something so important? And I said, look, I need to sleep for a couple hours. Like, I can't do this. I'm tired. I was like, please, can I go in our bedroom? And he's like, no. And so it was very clear that I stay, and I stay awake, and I shoot, or I leave. And again, I wasn't allowed a key. So I called a friend who lived pretty close to that area, and like 5 o'clock in the morning, I was in lingerie. I put on maybe a sweatshirt or something, and I left.
But like many victims of domestic violence, Ashley had a hard time ending the relationship. She continued to see Manson during his tour breaks throughout 2012 until January 2013, when she was finally able to break free.
I left and never looked back, and I erased his number. I deleted every email. I deleted every photo. That was the beginning of suppressing everything that had happened with him. And I have really bad OCD, but like the main thing that I do is my main fears are cleaning and contamination, and I feel like my whole existence since him has been trying to wash him off of me, or out of me, or like he's still in me and I'm still dirty of him. And it's not a good feeling. I don't feel sorry for myself, and I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. Like, of course I'm strong. I'm sitting here and I'm talking about this so other girls don't go through this. Like, I'm strong at this point. And everyone says, like, what is your end outcome? Like, what do you have to gain? I would say, like, I want him to get better. I want him to be rehabilitated. He's not gonna be ever. He's just not. I'm sorry. He's been doing this for 30 years. He's been doing this his whole life. I mean, from stories, he abused animals when he was little. He's a sick person. He's not gonna get better. So I'd like him behind bars, never doing this to another woman again. Man, woman, anyone. I want this to reach more people than anything. I want middle America, I want other countries. I want as many people to know who he is and what he is. And I want it to stop.